In our previous lesson, we had installed ESXi Hypervisor. On this page, you can see information about ESXi Hypervisor. Here you can see the manufacturer of our server, the model of the card and the CPUs on our server. I have 2 Xeon processors on my server and a total of 48 GB of RAM. Here you can see the hard disks on our server. We call these disks status store on ESXi. Here, on the right, you can see CPU, memory and storage usage information. You can see that our storage capacity is 1 terabit and our processor has 19 GHz capacity. Here you can see the usage amounts. Here you can shut down our ESXi host. If you want, you can reboot or refresh the page. You can also create or register a virtual machine from here. Our topic in this lesson is virtual switches. Go to the Networking tab and click on the Virtual Switch tab. Let's choose Virtual Switch 0 from here. Here you can see information about Virtual Switch on the right. When we look here, you can see our switch vertically on the graphical interface. Here you can see the port of our physical server connected to the switch. This port is our uplink port. This port connected to the physical switch side works as the trunk port by default. If you are going to use VLANs on this switch, you can create VLAN groups as you can see here. A little later, I will show you how to create VLAN groups. Now, let's go to the Networking tab again and come to the port group from here. Here you can see the VLAN groups I created earlier. I created these VLAN groups in our previous courses. Now let me show you how you can create these port groups. From here, we can create VLAN groups by clicking Add Port Group. Which VLAN you will use in this group, you write the VLAN ID here. For example, let's write 60 in the VLAN ID section. I write VLAN 60 in the name so that it is clear. From here, you can choose which switch this VLAN group will be on. Since we only have one virtual switch at the moment, I add this group by choosing Virtual Switch 0. Now we have created our VLAN 60 port group. If you are not going to use a VLAN, if you add a 0 to VLAN ID when you create a port group, you will not use a VLAN in that port group. Now let me show you how to add a trunk port. Where and when can you use trunk ports? For example, when you are going to install a virtual firewall on ESXi or when you are installing a wireless LAN controller, you may need to use the ports that some interfaces of these devices are connected to as trunks. In such cases, you can create a trunk port group on the virtual switch. Let me show you how to create a trunk port group by clicking Add Port Group here. I write trunk to the name of our group, where we can normally write between 1 and 4094 in the VLAN ID part, but if we want this port group to be trunk, we need to write 4095 here. When you type 4095, all VLANs pass through this port group. Here, I choose our virtual switch and say Add. Now you can trunk the interfaces of virtual firewall or wireless LAN controller that you will install on ESXi by taking this port group. Now, after creating the port groups, let's go to Virtual Switch again and check. From here I click Virtual Switch 0. Here, when we come to Virtual Switch, you can see that our trunk group is formed. Since there is no virtual machine in our trunk port group at the moment, we see it as empty here. Here we have one device in VLAN 20 port group and 4 devices in VLAN 10 group. When you select these port groups while creating virtual machines, you can see that virtual machine under the group here in the virtual switch topology. Here we have the management network port group. Our ESXi host is also in this port group. This is how you can create VLAN port groups on ESXi virtual switch. See you in our next lesson.